send my email out. It was quite long, actually. I wrote it over maybe 2 hours, and it turned into a gangly, five-legged mess, maybe a little bit, but I don't think so. I just, my writers, the cadence of the writing is always mirrored in how the writer speaks, right? This is the grace of Manly Palmer Hall, that when you're reading his book, you can hear him saying the words, and that's like really nice. Right. This is not the grace of Buckminster Fuller, because when you read the book, you can hear him saying it. But my hope is that like people can hear me saying the sentences, and a lot of times I will say them out loud, like as I'm typing them. But right, I know that I said this in one of my emails, however long ago, that it's such a terrifying prospect to have to pray to the air that the malevolent forces which despise you and wish you dead don't kill you. Please, just don't kill me. You pray to the air. That's knowing these powerful people are deeply troubled. I should never have assumed that aborting his magic would lead to anything other than my ruin. That's like, yes, that's, I fundamentally understand that, right? And as the days, right, I was so naive, I was so pure, so innocent, and I know that that's what the women all loved. I know that that's what they all loved. That it wasn't about them. But for it to have gone on this long, for it to have been so seditious against me, it says that there's something else like hovering there, that he doesn't have the control over Hollywood, that like he thinks he does, and that perhaps, right, everything crashed down around him when Tribeca went south, because everyone around him was like, well, what does it matter? What doesn't matter, right? It's his career. If they like him, he saves us all this money, right? And so that's, and again, it was all like, just say, like, I am sorry, I do respect it. But in truth, on a fundamental level, I respect no practitioner above me. That's, like, I do feel that way. Right? And so, right, his trade was fair. It wasn't not fair, but I don't think that I deserve to die. I don't think that I believe to, like, I don't think that I should have to believe that my life is in danger forever, right? I don't think that it's right for me to have to worry about these women, to not be able to speak to them in person. Right? And so I have to pursue that, because like I understand that like Hollywood as an idea, obviously I wasn't ready to like do that thing. And so there now, like I don't get to go to the Oscars or whatever, right? But like they're individuals, right? Like I'm not asking for the system. I'm asking to speak to individuals who I believe are deeply, deeply troubled by the reality that they have not been able to speak to me in person. Right? And so I don't think that they deserve to be treated the way that they are being treated. That they should have to go, right, the next 50 years of their lives, like wondering, knowing that they got a raw deal. That they could have gone to me, right, and said what they needed to say, and I would have melted into a puddle of shit immediately and said, oh, yes, and blushing and say, I don't know. I don't know. Right? That makes a lot of sense, actually. Right? That they saw a real psychological justification in, saying, okay, like I hitch my wagon to you, right? And you, like, we all justify it together. Like, that does make a lot of sense, actually. And that does seem like a legitimate crime against magic, to deny them, to not see that, to be selfish and make it about you, to not see what they were offering and, like, how they were interpreting it and what they saw it as, right? As an opportunity, right? Then they would have something to say about it. You get it? Right? Then they would have something to say about it. Say, oh, we saw his headshot and we saw his letters. And cool, he's the one that can do it. And you get it? There it is. Right? And so now, when they go out on stage, right, to discuss the film, all they're going to think about is how they had no say, that they just spread their legs, got tied up, and fucked. That's all that happened. right? And so I want to put eyes on them ASAP. Not to hold them and say you're so beautiful, like yes, like I'll give you whatever you want forever. Right? It's just to help them be independent and free, know that they're free. Perhaps they are free. Right? But I can't really know that until they're in front of me and there's no barriers between us. Right? So, I don't think that that's unreasonable. I don't think that that's, right, if that's what they always wanted, right, if they always wanted to just like decide on this one and say, your movie's fucked up and so we're going to put him right here because that makes us feel good, right? I don't think that's really unreasonable given what he wanted, right? I never saw the full scope, right? The movie critic was one of my characters, an isolated, alone guy. Right? But they always knew what he wanted. They know what he wants, right? Right? So, are they going to let me see them? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. They got all these gates up and Hollywood gatekeeping. That's like, that's what's occurring right now. That I'm like, I guess I'm like flexing hard, like on some level in terms of like writing all these agencies and saying, this is the truth that I understand, and you all represent this industry that we're all like operating on this level. Does Quentin Tarantino have the legal right to keep them from coming to me if they want to come to me? And the answer is no. Right? That there's 1,000 legitimate legal reasons why we could never meet. Right? Political, legal, or there's all these different reasons that like could like legitimately divide us, right? But if the only reason is that, Quentin, right, is terrified to let us all together because then the game really is over. Then that's not legal. That's holding someone hostage. That's right. If you're preventing them from coming to me because you don't want them to be with me, but they want to be with me, that's holding them. Right? Illegal imprisonment. That's holding them hostage, 100%. Right. Right. That's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else. Husband and wife, right? So it's like, I feel like it's like the hardest to get Daniela, probably, like technically, legally. And that's what I said in the email that I just sent out. So at least Mikey and Sydney, right? Like I got it. Like he doesn't own them. He doesn't control them. I want to put eyes on them with only the LAPD next to us. Right? And so if the truth is that they all struggle with the same feeling in their heart, right? Every time that they go out, they say, please just don't kill me. Please don't just don't be so evil that I crash my car, right? Right? Please, like, don't make me feel like you're trying to give me AIDS, like all these things. And so now we've all humiliated ourselves, right, to the entire world, right, accordingly, right? Them through getting raped, and me admitting, right? Secret to my clairvoyant mastery. And so, now, right, it's like all that's left is the funeral, right? All that's left is him assassinating me or forgiving me, And if the truth is that, right, he's incapable of forgiving me, but those women are also now incapable of letting me go as a result of this saga, letting it go on this long, right? Then there's no hope for any of us psychologically that it's done. No, it's done. That we're like so far in each other's minds, all of us, that it behooves us to relax, right? To just like chill, no more esoteric like mind shit. I sing songs, I cook, like we chill. Yeah, that's fucking rad, right? Or they look me in the eye and say, you're weird and you need to go to the hospital. That's my point. Like my terms aren't unfair, right? I'm not saying you got to join a monastery, right? But if you don't want to be with me, and you don't want to take a polygraph to discuss what occurred April 18th, 2025 with Quentin Tarantino in relation to me, right? Then the convent or the prison cell, these are your alternatives, right? And so since I know they don't want to talk about that, right? He's holding them like a goblin, right? And there's nothing, I'm talking about it, I don't know. I don't see how he can prevent Mikey and Sydney from coming to me, and I do feel like they're like getting to that point. Because, right, that whole city feels me like hovering over it. saying, what's the deal with these two? Like, are they involved with this? Right? And so, is that its own answer as a psychic? I don't know, you know? I would say it is. I would say it is. Like, on a fundamental level. And that's how I saw it. That's why I always was like, oh, if he doesn't want to speak to me, if he doesn't want to spend any real time with me, then the whole world needs to understand. And that's why I wrote the novel. Right? And if the truth is that those two, right, at the risk of my arrogance, finally got excited sexually about doing those scenes because they had like a real man to like hold him that they felt good about, you know? Like, is that impossible? I think that's kind of likely, right? And if he's sadistic and awful to Daniela and has been their entire marriage and has done nothing but lie to her and manipulate her the entire time, then does it not stand to reason that she might say, all right, as soon as I can, I'm divorcing you, right? Is that not, right? Kind of makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Right? So, again, fair terms. All I got to do is look me in the eye, say you're a really sweet guy, but I'm free and independent. I don't know like what you're talking about. There's nothing wrong with my life. Right? And then I'll wish you well, and I'll pray for you forever. But I know that's a lie, and I know that they're incapable of lying to me. That when they see me, right, they're going to go all googly-eyed and probably start crying. We're going to all start crying immediately. Apologizing. Right? And this is what my therapist was talking about. I said, oh, what if they're just as wicked as Quentin? And it's like, well, if that's true, then they would come to me and then fuck me to sleep and then kill me for Quentin. Like that's the spell, isn't it? Right? But if the truth is that Quentin's the only one that hates me and they're desperate to see me to say, please, like, show me how to have a better life. Right? Help me pick up the pieces of my psyche separate from Quentin Tarantino. Is that impossible? Seems kind of likely, actually. So I suppose I'll go 12 minutes, but I don't know. I pray for them. I pray I don't get murdered, right? Right? I don't know what else to say, like I feel like there's more hanging there, but I don't really know what else to say beyond that. It's not about me saying they're beautiful every day, with my actions, It's not about all those poetic things, right? That Quentin resented when I wrote all those love poems because he knew that they were sincere and that those women got all googly-eyed. I said, wow, he's so magic. He's so magic. Look at all this material. But if that's what they need, then they have the right to come to me. That's the point, right? Like, he has the right to do all of his, right, psychic sedition. That's all, right? That's all legit, right? But if someone wants out, if they see a way out, right, then they have the right to go, right? And so now it's gotten to this point where he exists under an understanding that once the five of us are together, that we will represent the 5 strongest clairvoyants in the world, like collectively. And this puts him in a fear. I'm not saying I'm a stronger psychic than him. He is a stronger psychic than me as far as practice. He's been doing it a long time, and he has an immaculate prowess. Right? True master, of course. And that's why I'm ashamed, because it was fair, and he has taught me a lot in these 2 years. I'm not going to act like he hasn't. He never showed me what time it is, right? But as far as tactics, right, he's given me his master class, and it's just as sadistic and evil as anyone could possibly fathom. And so in that way, I should have given him just a little bit of my mind, because I can handle that evil. And if it got me all of these beautiful women and got them out from under his sadism, then it was well worth it, But I took this hard, stubborn path, the straight and narrow path that leads to God. And now, right, despite the fact that we've had to humiliate ourselves to the whole world, right, perhaps we can hold each other and say that we love each other and be good to each other. Something to consider.